One of the biggest reasons German soldiers feared American infantry during World War II was the incredible amount of firepower they carried into battle. Unlike many armies at the time, American infantry units were heavily equipped with automatic weapons, grenades, mortars, and machine guns. A typical American rifle squad could unleash a massive volume of fire in just a few seconds. The standard rifle issued to U.S. soldiers was the M1 Garand, a semi-automatic rifle that allowed soldiers to fire 8 rounds rapidly without manually cycling the bolt. This gave American infantry a major advantage over German soldiers who were often armed with the bolt-action carabiner 98K. In close combat situations, this difference in firing speed could mean the difference between winning or losing a firefight. American squads also relied heavily on powerful support weapons such as the Browning automatic rifle, which provided automatic suppressive fire. Combined with grenades and portable mortars, U.S. infantry units could deliver devastating firepower against enemy positions. German soldiers often reported that fighting American infantry felt like facing a wall of bullets. Even when German troops had strong defensive positions, the overwhelming firepower of American squads could quickly suppress them. Because of this, many German soldiers developed a deep respect and sometimes fear of American infantry units on the battlefield. Another major reason German troops feared American infantry was the speed and accuracy of American artillery support. The United States developed one of the most advanced artillery coordination systems of the entire war. This system allowed frontline soldiers to quickly request artillery fire whenever they encountered strong enemy resistance. American infantry units often included trained forward observers equipped with radios. These observers could contact artillery batteries positioned miles behind the front lines. Within minutes, heavy shells could begin raining down on German positions with remarkable precision. The backbone of this firepower was the M2A1, 105 mm howitzer, one of the most widely used American artillery guns of the war. These guns were capable of delivering powerful, high-explosive shells that could destroy fortifications, vehicles, and troop concentrations. German soldiers frequently complained that whenever they attacked American positions, artillery fire would quickly follow. Even small engagements could trigger a massive barrage. Many German veterans later described American artillery as one of the most terrifying aspects of fighting U.S. forces, because artillery could be called so quickly and accurately. American infantry often fought with the confidence that powerful support was always available. For German troops, this meant that engaging American soldiers could suddenly bring an overwhelming storm of explosives crashing down on their positions. One of the most important advantages American soldiers had during World War II was their incredible logistical support. Behind every American infantryman stood the massive industrial power of the United States. American factories produced huge numbers of weapons, vehicles, uniforms, food supplies, and medical equipment. This meant that American soldiers were rarely short on ammunition or essential supplies. Trucks constantly delivered ammunition, food, and replacement equipment to the front lines. Even in difficult battlefield conditions, American troops often had access to fresh rations, warm clothing, and medical care. In contrast, German soldiers increasingly suffered from severe shortages, especially during the later years of the war. Fuel shortages limited vehicle movement, ammunition supplies became unreliable, and food rations were sometimes reduced. The United States also produced enormous numbers of military vehicles like the GMC CKW 2.5-ton truck, which played a critical role in transporting supplies to the front lines. These trucks kept American forces constantly resupplied during long campaigns across Europe. German troops often realized that American infantry could keep fighting longer simply because they had reliable supplies and reinforcements. While German units sometimes struggled with limited ammunition or equipment, American soldiers could continue attacking with full strength. This logistical advantage helped make American infantry a formidable force on the battlefield and contributed to the fear many German soldiers felt when facing them. Another reason German soldiers feared American infantry was their increasingly aggressive combat tactics. As the war progressed, Early in World War II, some German commanders believed American soldiers lacked experience. However, this perception quickly changed after American troops gained valuable combat experience in North Africa, Italy, and later in Western Europe. By 1944, American infantry units had become highly effective in offensive operations. They used coordinated movements, flanking attacks, and heavy suppressive fire to overwhelm enemy defenses. Instead of relying solely on frontal assaults, American troops frequently maneuvered around German positions to attack from the sides or rear. American soldiers were also trained to keep constant pressure on the enemy. When German units attempted to retreat or reposition, American infantry often pushed forward quickly to exploit weaknesses in their defenses. This aggressive approach forced German troops to stay on the defensive and prevented them from organizing strong counterattacks. Many German veterans later admitted that American infantry units became extremely dangerous once they gained battlefield experience. Their willingness to push forward under fire, combined with strong support weapons, made them a serious threat in close combat situations. One of the greatest strengths of the American military during World War II was its ability to coordinate different types of forces on the battlefield. American infantry rarely fought alone. Instead, they were supported by tanks, artillery, engineers, and aircraft working together in a coordinated strategy known as combined arms warfare. During major operations, American infantry would often advance alongside armored vehicles such as the M4 Sherman tank. These tanks could destroy enemy bunkers, machine gun nests, and fortified positions that infantry alone might struggle to defeat. At the same time, American artillery units remained ready to bombard enemy positions, while fighter aircraft attacked German vehicles and supply routes. This level of coordination created enormous pressure on German defenses. German soldiers frequently found themselves facing multiple threats at once: infantry advancing from the front, tanks approaching from another direction, and artillery shells exploding around them. This made it extremely difficult to hold defensive positions for long periods. Because American forces could combine these different elements so effectively, their infantry units became much more powerful than soldiers fighting alone. For German troops, encountering American infantry often meant facing an entire coordinated battle system rather than just a single unit. American infantry also carried some of the most effective small arms of the war, giving them an important advantage during firefights. One of the most famous weapons used by American soldiers was the M1 Garand rifle. Unlike many other standard rifles of the time, the Garand was semi-automatic, allowing soldiers to fire multiple shots rapidly without manually operating a bolt after each round. This higher rate of fire gave American soldiers a clear advantage against enemies armed with bolt-action rifles like the Carabiner 98K. In fast-moving combat situations, American infantry could deliver more shots in a shorter amount of time, increasing their chances of suppressing enemy forces. American units also used powerful support weapons, such as the M1919 Browning machine gun, which provided sustained automatic fire to pin down enemy troops. In addition, weapons like the M1 A1 Thompson submachine gun were extremely effective in close-range fighting, especially in urban environments or dense terrain. These weapons gave American infantry squads a strong combination of rapid-fire rifles, machine guns, and close combat weapons. German soldiers quickly learned that facing American troops often meant encountering intense and continuous gunfire. Because of this firepower advantage, American infantry units could dominate many firefights, which further contributed to the fear and respect German soldiers developed for them during the war. Another major advantage that made American infantry especially dangerous was the powerful air support they could rely on during battle. By the middle of World War II, the United States and its allies had achieved significant air superiority over much of Western Europe. This meant that American ground troops often operated under friendly skies. When American infantry encountered strong resistance, fighter bombers could be called in to attack German positions. Aircraft such as the Republic P-47 Thunderbolt were particularly effective in this role. Known for its durability and heavy firepower, the P-47 could strike enemy vehicles, bunkers, and troop concentrations with bombs, rockets, and machine guns. German soldiers often feared moving during daylight because Allied aircraft frequently patrolled the skies. Convoys, tanks, and defensive positions could suddenly become targets for airstrikes. This close cooperation between air power and infantry created enormous pressure on German forces. Even well-defended positions could quickly become vulnerable if American aircraft joined the fight. For many German soldiers, the sound of Allied aircraft engines overhead meant that danger could arrive at any moment. American infantry units also benefited from relatively strong morale compared to many exhausted German forces late in the war. The United States military placed significant emphasis on maintaining the physical and mental well-being of its soldiers. Whenever possible, American troops generally received reliable food rations, proper uniforms, and medical care. In addition, the U.S. military sometimes rotated units away from the front lines after long periods of combat, allowing soldiers to rest and recover before returning to battle. In contrast, many German soldiers by 1944 and 1945 were fighting under extremely difficult conditions. Supplies were limited, reinforcements were scarce, and long periods of continuous combat left many troops exhausted. Because American infantry were often better supplied and rested, they could fight with greater energy and determination during major operations. German soldiers noticed this difference, especially in the later years of the war, when American forces continued launching powerful offensives while German resources became increasingly strained. This higher level of morale helped American infantry remain effective and resilient even in intense combat situations. Behind every American infantryman stood one of the most powerful industrial economies in the world. The United States had the ability to produce enormous quantities of weapons, vehicles, ammunition, and equipment throughout the war. American factories produced thousands of tanks, aircraft, trucks, and artillery pieces every month. This constant production ensured that American forces rarely ran out of essential supplies on the battlefield. Military vehicles like the GMC CK W2.5-ton truck played a crucial role in transporting weapons, food, and ammunition to soldiers on the front lines. These supply vehicles allowed American forces to maintain steady momentum during large campaigns across Europe. German soldiers increasingly struggled with shortages of fuel, ammunition, and replacement equipment, especially in the final years of the war. As a result, they understood that American forces had a powerful logistical and industrial advantage supporting them. This industrial strength meant that American infantry units could continue fighting effectively even after heavy battles, reinforcing the perception among German troops that American forces were extremely difficult to defeat. Perhaps one of the most important qualities of American infantry during World War II was their ability to learn quickly and adapt to changing battlefield conditions. At the beginning of the war, many American soldiers lacked combat experience. However, they rapidly improved as they gained experience in different theaters of war. American forces fought in a wide range of environments, including the deserts of North Africa, the mountains of Italy, the forests of Western Europe, and the islands of the Pacific. Each of these environments required different tactics and strategies. As the war progressed, American infantry units became more flexible and capable of adjusting their methods to overcome enemy defenses. They improved their coordination with tanks, artillery, and aircraft, making their operations more effective. German soldiers often noted that American troops became significantly more skilled after early battles. Instead of repeating mistakes, they quickly adapted and improved their tactics. This ability to learn and evolve on the battlefield helped transform American infantry into a powerful fighting force. By the final stages of the war, German soldiers recognized that American troops were well-equipped, well-supported, and highly capable in combat.